Welcome to the Fan Caste, episode 14, where we discuss all things world-class bullshitters, episode 89, and the week's Star Wars videos, thanks to Jeff. On the line we have, from the big show, Kendo Slice.
Hola, bao ding, puta, ignovo, hail Satan.
And coming from places unknown in the Northeast is Liquid Metal Pro.
Damn it, they keep deleting my one-star reviews.
Yeah, I was trying to work in New York Oggs there, and I kind of got tongue-tied, but you guys need to find each other. All right, so the first topic we've got is it's kind of a look back to last year, and it's upcoming, and that's Schlocktoberfest. Now, last year we had a video every day. One of them got deleted pretty quickly, or got tagged as copyrighted content.
That was bullshit.
Yes, it was, and there's been a couple others, and so I know I saw them all. Some of them were flagged within hours, and we have stuff upcoming. So first of all, what did you guys think of last year's Schlocktoberfest?
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Same here.
All right. Now, for those of you who are patrons, you heard Jeff say that there's some upcoming Schlocktoberfest stuff that from last year that it's going to be released. I'm still the only one that bought the T-shirt, so that's kind of weird. But that's
For now.
For now. I'm Tigger, and that's fine with me. So, Mr. Kendo, is there anything that you want to tell us or can tell us about this year?
Yeah, we've got several things already in the hopper, recorded and ready to rock and roll for the Schlocktoberfest. It's going to be a little bit different. There's not going to be a video every day, as that is far too time-consuming for Jeff to do. He's a busy man. He doesn't always have help when it comes to recording things, and essentially this year's Schlocktoberfest can be slightly different. We're going to have like a mix of commentaries and discussion videos on the channel, as well as some stuff that we're throwing on the Patreon.
No. That's great. Now, what level is that at? Any level, or?
I'm assuming a first grade reading level, but
No. I mean the Patreon. We're talking $1 a month, $10 a month, $5.
I don't know yet for sure. I think it really kind of depends on what it is. Like,
okay.
Some of the more time-intensive stuff might go to the higher up, but I think for the most part, just about all of our content right now that we're producing is going to fall into that $5 category at the very least. And then some of the stuff we've got planned, like some of like the really super double secret probation type stuff, is going to come out to like early release to the higher level patrons, and then slowly work its way down the ladder. I know like the Shitbusters thing is coming out. I thought it was coming out today, but it might come out tomorrow. I don't know yet. That's going to the $5 patrons, and eventually it'll work its way down to the $1 one. So that way, because we're not trying to like strong arm people to say, "Huh, you have to pay $5 now for this." It's not that at all. It's just saying, "Hey, we've got this," and as a way of saying thank you to the people that are, subscribe to the higher amount. We're going to give them an early release of stuff, because we do have a release schedule for just about everything we got. And so that'll come out to them first, and then, in a few weeks, a month, whatever, it'll end up working its way down so that everybody will eventually get to have it.
Sounds great. I mean, I know I made comments on the Facebook page last week after listening to the Force Awakens commentary and how it was worth it. That one, I think they had all the way down to $1.
Yeah,
and
made that one $1 for specifically to allow for everybody to get that was a patron to get to enjoy it. That was the thing. It was like, we want that to be we want that for everybody.
Yep.
So.
And I did ask a question because I kind of had a half-baked idea, and a few people got some likes. I got somebody I said 1,000 yeses. And that was for me to watch the TFA, probably listening to your all's junk commentary while drinking, and then do a follow-up video of my day of video, the day I saw it, that I posted almost 2 years ago now. And so obviously if I do that and I'm quite drunk, I'm probably going to have to set all up my camera and all that crap up first. Just finding when I'm going to do that. So that is, I have not forgotten. I did even mention in Facebook that I'll get that to where I figure out. Last year on Schlocktoberfest, I liked all the videos. I know it was a lot of effort. I think a lot of it was done well before October.
It is.
There were several drunk commentaries about different horror movies and things. And this year we've also got, the movie It is now out.
Which we will have a review for that coming very soon.
So, that's kind of nice and timely mid-September here. I've seen some people love it, some people don't like it, but overall, I think people have liked it, and hopefully they like it for the right reasons, not nostalgia, but it's a nice retake. Re-imaging, I guess, is the best way to say it.
From what I understand, talking to people I actually trust when it comes to watching movies, because they're not complete fucking mouth breathers, it's not a complete re-imaging at all. It is different, but in a good way.
Okay. Like it does a couple things different. Like it does some things differently. I've heard.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I don't mind. I mean, we tell the same story, even with our folk tales and things. So I don't mind people, retelling certain stories. It's just yes, you can reimagine pieces and you can add things and take out things, and especially if you stay with the spirit of the original. But when it's just, oh, wait a minute, we don't have a black character, make this person black, because that's just ridiculous.
We need us some minorities.
Yeah.
Diversity hires.
Well, that's good. I mean, it sounds like this year it's going to be pretty good. I know last year, I'm not sure exactly. I don't remember exactly when Jeff had the idea. Knowing he and Nick, they probably had it months in advance. But they're not in the same state. They are in the same time zone. But they're Cincinnati to Atlanta is about a 7-hour drive, something like that, 8 hours. So it's not. They're not close. It's not driving across town for an hour and a half. Because it's about 4.5 to Knoxville, and I think it's about 2 to 3.5 from there, depending on Chattanooga traffic.
If you're a grandpa driver, yeah.
So I made that trip a couple times. So but south of Chattanooga, it's pretty much NASCAR speeds unless there's an accident. And,
we got to go fast like an Earnhardt.
Yeah. And when you go through construction zones, it doesn't slow down any. So I made that mistake and about got hit. Anyway, so we also had Star Wars news. We had a lot of Star Wars news this past week. Jeff made several videos about it. There were things even brought up on yesterday's episode that hadn't been dealt with before. So we're going to take these one at a time, make sure everybody gets their 2 cents in. So first on the list, let's kind of go with the least shocking one, I guess. And that's episode 9 being delayed from May to December. Various reasons. There's a Marvel movie around the same time. And it'll be a week after Wonder Woman 2. So what do you guys think of that?
I was shocked, appalled, and completely caught by surprise. No, I wasn't.
That's all I really got to say.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't surprise me.
My response to most of the Star Wars news this week was, of fucking course it is.
Yeah, episode 7 was in December. 8 is going to be in December. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't 9 be in December? So there's a part of me that wonders, was it all along they were going to move it? Because it would have been the odd man out. It would have been the one movie that didn't come out at the same time as the other two. That just seems
Christmas
weird.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't know about conspiracy, but I don't know. But, I mean, here's part of why I say that. 2 years ago, we had how many trailers by now before The Force Awakens came out?
A shit ton.
I mean, I think that the last trailer, the one I really, really liked and got me emotionally every time I watched it, was out in I want to say it was in the summertime, but I think it was after football started. There was a Monday Night Football game and they had it at halftime. And then they had it, and then there was an international version which had a little bit more information, more scenes. And then there were a whole bunch of little short clips and short things that Disney had. Sometimes they were just a handful of seconds. Sometimes they were 20, 30 seconds. it feels to me like I saw 20 minutes of that movie before I ever went to the theater, watching all of the trailers and the clips. And this time, well, we have the teaser, and I'm not aware of any other trailer. And it's like, it's mid-September. There ought to be something out. I would think by now.
You would assume so, yeah. If it's their big blockbuster movie of the holiday season, you think they would be pimping the hell out of it.
I mean, we're talking 3 months out, and there hasn't been a first real trailer. We don't know of any necessarily reshoots with this. The other movies have been, we've had the Han Solo movie fiasco, firing the directors and getting Ron Howard, and he's reshooting stuff. And is Han Solo just the pilot? I mean, I've heard all kinds of things. He's only the pilot. He's not really the protagonist, or some woman that's the protagonist. I don't know how much of that is just real, and how much of it is just people being fed up with stuff. So yeah, I don't know if I care that it comes out in December instead of May. It's just that was the original movies came out in May, and these movies have been coming out in December. So to me, I'm not surprised. I guess it was supposed to be a year after the Han Solo movie, which is also kind of strange. I would not be surprised if that one gets delayed, but because Rogue One came out in December of last year, right? They've all been December.
Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't see that one in theaters.
Yeah, I didn't either. I finally I got the Blu-ray from Netflix, watched it, and was like, yeah, whatever. And I think part of the delay is perhaps because of the next piece of news. So we had the director being fired, which I think was last week, for episode 8 or 9, and there was all kinds of names banded about, and lo and behold, Jar Jar Abrams comes to the top.
To the rescue, I think is what you mean.
Yeah. So how much of a Jedi reboot are we going to get? Is that
85 to 90%?
Sorry. Is that even a real question? That should be the expectation. I actually talked about this with some people at work today, and we were unanimous questioning how much mystery box are we going to get with this thing, or is he actually going to close the story for the first time in his life?
I'm pretty sure there's going to be some mystery box, or it's like, well, it's really just up to the fans' interpretation of what's going to happen.
Oh, dear God, no.
Personally, I would like it to be just box. I want to see box, on-screen box.
Right.
Of course he would.
That's what I said. I said what we're going to get. I was talking to one guy at work, and I said we're going to get 90 minutes of a movie and 25 minutes of a literal box with a question mark on it.
Wait, but Kendall, I have a question.
Yeah.
If we do see box on screen, it's not going to be Davies, is it?
Probably not.
I mean, I don't think she has one. I mean, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, Davey.
Davey.
In the current movie, and what's so strange is I don't remember having this in interpretation with the teaser trailer. She actually still looked like a female. But in the stills I've seen, later little clips and things, and especially the doll, she looks androgynous. So who knows? Maybe by episode 9, will be a
woman,
a she-male.
Jesus, Star Wars going full tranny on us.
I don't know. She gained a lot of weight though between the movies, so she got real puffy. I've seen some pictures of her pre-training, and I'm like, yep, good luck getting rid of that belly fat. So that might be part of it.
Oh boy, 4 months of you complaining about an lead actress's training regimen. Cannot wait.
Sounds like a trap.
Cannot wait.
I'm not. I know how they trained her in the first one and this one, and it's the same garbage.
I don't think she trained. She just automatically knew how to do everything.
Yeah. Look, listeners, if you go find the Strength Sensei and Mark Ripito on Twitter and follow them, you will understand where I'm coming from. You have people who have coached world-class athletes. We're talking Olympic weightlifting, and we're talking bodybuilding. So don't take my word for it. Take it from the experts. And these little pipsqueak 27-year-olds who have taken a 6-week course on physical training, who think they know it, it's amazing the difference. But what they're saying isn't any different than what they were saying back when Arnold was around and before, even all the guys before him. So
there's a big difference there with Arnold, and it starts with a steer and ends with a roids.
Yeah, well, he actually wasn't on as many as people think. He did take them near. He didn't like them, but see, also back in his day, there weren't as many.
Probably taking them wrong.
And you had to. Well, basically, you had to get your body to its fullest extent naturally because the aesthetic was still there. It wasn't the big behemoth monsters. We have guys now that are just huge, and they look horrible. They're not balanced. They just have huge muscles. And what that stuff does to your internal organs and how it distends your belly was considered not a good look back then until about the late 80s. So they did them, but they didn't do them anything close to today. So yeah, I'm really afraid we're going to get some kind of reboot. Of course, I think what we're getting is an Empire reboot. I think Dion talked about this last week and hit on a little bit this week. If you had faith in your movie, there would be trailers out already. So when you take into account how many directors have been fired in the last few weeks, and all of the rework and all this other crap that's going on, and actors needing acting coaches and all this crap, there's some serious turmoil behind the scenes. There has got to be. I mean, I cannot imagine what Kathleen is like in the office. Speaking of which, so because of all this turmoil, I mean, I know Dion put a lot of blame on Kathleen's shoulders. Abrams is producing these movies. He's the executive producer of 9. He's the producer of 8. He's also the producer of the Star Wars, even the new one that was written by Simon Pegg. It's almost starting to sound like a match made in hell between those two. It's just they have an agenda, and by God, it's going to be done.
I wonder if they're fucking.
Oh, good God.
Just because that would just add an extra layer to the onion.
Well, Jar Jar's so beta, I'm thinking he would be catching if they are.
Damn, she's pegging him?
Yeah, she'd probably be the one giving it to him. He'd be receiving.
Yeah.
She's like fucking just railing him in the ass, screaming about how she was responsible for the success of Indiana Jones and Back to the Future.
Sounds like something Pascal would do too.
Was she involved with Back to the Future?
She was an executive producer, but most people are too stupid to realize an executive producer really has absolutely no role in seeing through that the movie is any quality.
Yeah, it just sounds nice.
They're essentially just the middlemen. They're the go-between between the studio and the production company, the actual producers.
No, I thought the executive producer had creative control.
Not unless you're like a really good. If you're an executive producer like a Steven Spielberg executive producer, then you might have some kind of say, just because you actually have credence in the filmmaking industry.
Oh,
but Kathleen Kennedy essentially was a secretary, and she just knew the right people.
Well, yeah. Well, speaking of Spielberg, he was the other Spielberg and Frank Marshall. Now, those two, I would believe, would have some kind of say, probably in the planning stages, with Zemeckis on that, probably in how to get those things together and how to, shoot all that stuff.
Probably,
but, yeah. I don't know, but I am it's to me, it's just like the Clinton White House. It's like, there was all these, had all these rumors and discussions. The Secret Service were leaking about what Hillary was like in the residence area and throwing vases and, screaming and hollering and yelling at everybody.
And you guys wanted her to be our president.
Yeah, and this is like,
talk about the star reviews, right?
Yeah, but I get this picture that's what Kathleen is probably like behind closed doors, and I think the reason Ron Howard's pretty old and he probably doesn't care anymore, but Jar Jar's my age or close to it. I think he's a few years younger, but he's got that mindset where I think what's happened with these other directors is they wanted to do what they wanted to do. They didn't want to do some SJW filled stupidity. Kathleen couldn't convince them of it, so they were gone. And Jar Jar's going to do whatever. he's not going to rock any boat. He doesn't have an original idea in his head. So it's pretty much he's just pretty much an empty vessel that Kathleen can pour whatever she wants into, and it's going to come out.
So what you're saying is that he's a puppet and her hand is up his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Sounds
Absolutely.
about it. I mean, we had this discussion last week when we were talking about how basically that's what you have over there. You don't have any alphas. You have nothing but betas over there, just yes men into Kathleen Kennedy, and that's basically the vibe I'm getting from all this.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
None of them, the guys who do stand up, hey, there's a door on your way out.
Yep. And Ron's done some pretty good work in the past. I really liked Cocoon, and some of the other. He did a few other movies that I'm not remembering at the moment. Pretty good, but yeah, I think it almost seems like the team of the two of Kathleen and Abrams. And Abrams is probably picking directors on the Star Trek side and approving scripts that follow his narrative. So that's where his input is. So his influence is a bit removed, but it's still there. And it doesn't fully shock me, but the thing is I can't express how much I want to be wrong. When I say that the next one is Empire with some Jedi, and now it's almost nearly confirmed the third one is going to be Jedi in some fashion redo. The Porgs are probably going to be the Ewoks.
Pork dinner.
I want to be I can't even explain how much I want to be wrong. I want to have that the next movie come out and I'm like, oh, this is what this is the granted George isn't involved and it's hard to say is it Star Wars without George, but it's kind of like to me as a movie suspenseful without Hitchcock. Can you make a movie in a Hitchcock-esque way that has a little bit of a new twist on it without Hitchcock there? And I think that's what these movies needed to be, not these fan service stupidities. I can't believe how many comments I've seen about Rogue One, people complaining about fan service, yet they like The Force Awakens. And I'm like, did you not pay attention to every scene of that movie? There's a callback in nearly every scene.
If you go on the World Class Bullshitters Patreon and you join for just $1 a month, you'll hear us point out every single instance in which there is a fan service callback scene because we call it out, and we spend a really good amount of time calling out all the fucking fan service callback stuff because there's a lot of it.
Right, and some of it is subtle. Some of it is just in styling and framing, and some of it is literal stuff from the first movie.
It's essentially psychological stuff that's put in there to make people go, oh, yeah, I remember when I was a child and I saw this for the first time. Oh, my God. Oh, the sunset. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough to where I remember it, and it makes me feel all good inside.
Yeah.
It's basically what's become popular is the whole nostalgia fest of it. Like people now, and here's another thing that bothers me about this whole thing, the nostalgia fest, is that you have people who are being nostalgic and this is a good majority of people, I won't say like everyone, but you have people who are mostly nostalgic, who were never nostalgic, who never really cared or liked Star Wars to begin with. They just, like, I believe, like they have said numerous times throughout the episodes on the podcast, it's just like they want to feel like they're a part of something just because they want to be in the discussion or they want to wear a cool T-shirt or something like that. It's more than just that. When you're talking about how you wanted to be wrong, Brainmuffin, about the whole, like, what's coming up with Star Wars. That's how I felt with Ghostbusters. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted to be proven wrong, but every
he just watched that last week.
I'm not over it yet.
I forgot about that.
Fucking bad.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was like, wait, I forgot that somebody was watching that, but I was like, yeah, I forgot. Oh God, how did you survive that?
Alcohol.
I didn't have that benefit. I went to see it with three other people. Three other people. One who told me it was largely forgettable. He did say I did overreact at times, but he did say I understand why. The other two were like, you're overreacting. It's not that bad a movie. I'm like, you guys have never seen the original, and you will never understand why it is that I got upset watching that piece of crap. And but that's, again, I think that's the whole problem with it. Nowadays, there's no build to these things. There is no longevity. It's just this hype machine of, hey, it's new, it's shiny, it's flashy, but give it a nostalgic feel to it. That's what everything's done nowadays. It's not even the new stuff that comes out nowadays is always doing a callback to something that happened like 10, 20, 30 years ago, even longer.
Well,
it was fucking awful.
And if you guys want to listen to that, join the Patreon. Is it $5 or higher is going to get the first release, or is it $10 or higher?
I think it's $5.
$5, and then it'll be eventually to everybody.
Yeah, eventually get to everybody, because we got some really great movies coming on the Patreon. It's just not us suffering. Granted, we did suffer for the TFA and the Shitbusters, and we're going to suffer through Suicide Squad for the patrons. But we're also going to do some good ones.
If that doesn't
futures
show
on the list.
I don't think anything will.
No, I've seen Suicide Squad. I didn't make it all the way through it because I turned it off because of how fucking terrible it was. But
yeah. It starts off a good movie, and then it starts to lose itself, and then it's
and the music, the moment you own it, yeah. Turn this fucking thing off.
Boy, you're welcome for that softball.
Yeah, it had one chance to be good. It missed its opportunity, or whatever the song goes.
It blew multiple opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, but once it veered into stupidity, man, it put the hammer down, put it in fifth gear, and went for it. So,
made you wonder who was blowing who.
Oh, I tell you, by the time I got to the end of that movie with the boss fight, I was like, the CGI was so bad. I was like, I don't even know if I'm watching a PlayStation 2 game anymore.
That one will probably be coming after Oktoberfest.
Yeah,
just because.
Yeah.
We've got a whole list of shit to do, and we want to watch good movies.
Right. I don't blame you.
We want to watch good movies.
So, anyway, the next Star Wars topic is something I thought Jar Jar already announced before, and I'm betting he saw this once. He said this once he saw the Star Trek script had Sulu as gay. I could have sworn he said episode 8 will have an openly gay character, and now he's talking 9 will, like 8 doesn't. I have to agree with Jeff on this. I don't give a crap. This is just pandering. This is just blatant pandering. It's not...
Yep.
Okay, make a character be gay, but don't make that the thing.
Yeah,
They're just a character.
That's why I use the example from Reno 911. The guy was gay. We all knew he was gay. They never told us he was gay, but we enjoyed him anyway because it was a very well done character.
Well, Doctor Who had multiple gay characters years ago, and it wasn't... They were just there. Granted, it was supposed to be something in the future, and they were complaining, and someone said, yeah, that's right, we're the tall and skinny gay couple or married couple or something like that. So... And they had other characters, and then of course, the spinoff had a gay character. Well, they were ambiguous. They went back and forth. I guess pansexual. I guess is probably
the fucking John Barrowman's gay.
Yeah, I know that, but
the character he played on Doctor Who, you didn't really know if he was. Nobody cared, and nobody cares that John Barrowman's gay. They like him.
Well, and he's played on Arrow. He plays a straight character on. Torchwood, he was sometimes gay, sometimes straight type. He was married or had relations with men and women. Yet, I mean, on one of the Torchwood miniseries, it was his son or grandson, I think, that he had to make an incredibly horrible decision to basically save the planet. So, because his character can't die, so that's the problem. And his wife was old. I'm pretty sure it was his grandson. Yeah, so to me it's like big whooping. We had what was there was a sitcom years ago. Debbie Messing played in it.
Oh, fucked up. God damn it, what is it?
Wasn't Will and Grace? No.
Yeah, it was Will. Yeah, it was Will and Grace.
Is Will and Grace?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was gay, but although the actor wasn't, but the character was. And then there was a guy on there who was also gay, the actor was gay as well as the character. So to me, it's like, this is 2017, this isn't new, and it doesn't freaking matter.
But we got to get gay people to watch Star Wars.
Right.
Even though there's probably a bunch that already do. And there's a bunch that are part of the gay community that aren't interested in sci-fi and aren't going to come watch the movie just because you got a gay in there.
Yeah.
The gay community.
I have several gay friends that all like Star Wars. They don't like the new ones at all, by the way. So... And we're talking, they got all kinds of,
stupid
Star Wars, and they like Star Wars and Star Trek. They don't really, whatever.
Well, expect in stores the lightsaber dildo, courtesy of J.J. Abrams.
I thought we had that already. Didn't we do that search a few episodes ago?
Yes.
Star Wars dildos.
Yep, we did. Because you guys wouldn't stop talking about fucking toys, so I put up some good toys.
Yeah. All right, so let's go on to merchandising. Now, I like the Spaceballs callback. There's a scene in Spaceballs where they're talking to Yogurt, and he talks about merchandising, and he opens the store. Now, what's interesting about that is Lucas gave his okay for the parody, but they could not sell any merchandising. So that's all fake stuff. And it's also why Mel Brooks goes over the top with the flamethrower and all that other stuff. But to me, I
still haven't got mine yet, Mel.
To me, that is so. It was so on in the '80s, and now I think it's just worse. That was a throwout. You guys are supposed to respond.
I agree with you, Jeff.
What it is that you're right, and the sad reality is, I've stepped into GameStop. I've stepped into Target. I've stepped into... Ooh, speaking of which, I'll send it over to you guys through Messenger. I actually paid a trip to Kmart this past week, and lo and behold, I went through the clearance section, and I saw a lot of Rey, a lot of Finn, a lot of everything that was Disney Star Wars related toys in Kmart clearance. Mind you, not much, but they had an additional sale. I think it was like additional 20% off. So... it's like this oversaturation of Star Wars products. I talk about GameStop. GameStop has like the oversized Ford plushes, which I don't think are selling, because who the fuck wants to pay $40 for an oversized plush of something?
Frank.
Yeah, that's what he spends all his money on.
Frank, come back, man. Oh my god, that is so cold. But and then you have, like, to go back to the other thing, the Funko Pops that, by the way, they announced Star Wars Funko Pops for this year at Comic-Con New York City. I will take a look and see how those are selling when I'm passing by there. If I manage to get a closer look, I'll take some pictures to see if they are indeed selling out. If they're not selling out, which ones are selling out, because I think it's a mixture of new characters and then older ones like Boba Fett and such. And that'll be pretty telling to see what is really, like, what people really want.
I'm willing to bet the old ones are what sells out.
Let me. I have my phone right here. Let me just look it up real quick and see what.
With the possible exception of Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
I don't think. I think his is the most popular new character. Finn sells okay. And the rest of them, they can't even give away.
They can't, because that would be essentially them admitting that they were wrong. And they don't want. They're never going to admit that. No company is ever going to come out and say, "Hey, look, we were wrong. Maybe we should go back to the older stuff, or just leave everything as is and just put out new merch."
Right. And I'm including the new versions of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker when I say older stuff.
All right. So let me read the list. These are all exclusives, by the way. So Star Wars Rogue One, Action Pose K-2SO. Star Wars Rogue One, Saw Gerrera with hair.
That's when he's younger. I think that's the one that's not in the movie.
All right. So then you also have Rogue One, Jin disguised with helmet.
Yep. I can see that because you can't see her face.
Yeah, just see her eyes. Oh my, damn, she looked like she comes straight from the Middle East with that attire.
I thought she looked
Rogue
like
One.
something out of Shrek. Actually, I always get Shrek when Shrek has that helmet on his head and you only see his eyes. And every time I see that, I know there's a huge difference in size between the two, but that's what I think about every time I see that.
Hey, that's a very diverse movie, by the way.
Yes.
All right, Rogue One. Damn, Rogue One has a bunch of them here for just the Star Wars line alone. Death Star droid.
Now, is this just a list of stuff available, or is this a countdown?
This is all. I mean, they're releasing it like every day or every couple days. A list of what, like it's all. They were doing like different releases by theme. For example, like one day they did a 80s theme. Now they did video games theme. So when they did the Star Wars theme, this is the list that they have for what's going to be available.
All right,
on
so
those
this
days.
is what's available, not how it's selling. Then.
Yeah,
But
so,
I bet
like
you
I said,
in Rogue One, the droid, I bet you sells the most.
probably. Even then, to me it looks like a deformed mosquito, like it's missing wings or something.
Yeah. Well, but that droid is the only character with any kind of personality in the whole frickin' movie.
Jesus.
Thank you, Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, really.
So the last two, Star Wars, Dengar, and lastly, this one I think might sell, even because it looks cool in my opinion, and I wouldn't mind having this if I have the money for it. Star Wars Boba Fett with Slave One, so it's a vehicle pop.
Yeah, original franchise.
Those usually go for $40 at Comic-Con, but if they actually start selling, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, he looks so happy in that thing. I don't know if I can tell how, but whatever. So yeah, that's gonna be very telling to see the when I go those 2 days what in fact is selling. Because if you think about it, Rogue One came out last year, right?
Yep.
So excluding the people who collect them, because there are people who collect these just because it's a pop, they don't care where it's from, they just collect it anyways. I don't expect to see, like, there's still, like, the hype for Rogue One has died down. I mean, like everything else that dies as soon as it comes out nowadays, but like I don't hear anybody talking about how Rogue One's the greatest Star Wars film or how these characters inspired them or none of that bullshit. So I don't expect to see a lot of those Rogue Ones when selling, but again, I could be surprised. So I will definitely try to take some pictures as I pass along, just to show you guys, hey, look, this is selling, or it's not selling. I'll even ask people on the line, like, hey, are you planning on buying any of the Star Wars ones? Just to kind of get a feel if it's really more of a, are they buying it because they actually like them, or are they just buying it because, hey, look, it's part of a collection and I just need to add it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some of that. There's some people who want to have a complete collection and they don't really care if it's popular or not. And, we had the Funko Pops. Someone put a picture, I believe that was in the Facebook page, where it was over 100 of them that were all raised and none of them were selling. So
yeah. I'll send you guys over in a bit the pictures that I took from Kmart, because it's really telling.
Why?
Yeah, because first of all, honestly, I think I know what it is. I think I really know what Rey's missing that could definitely change it for her.
Personality, better
I was gonna
writing,
say, what?
better writing,
better actress,
better actress.
I was gonna say tits, but yeah, that works too.
Yeah, that won't get you so far.
Yeah, I mean, she could be the same figure she is, but a different person portraying her, and I think that would help out a lot. Better writing, not unlocking God mode right away would help.
Yeah, well, look at Keira Knightley.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You got that.
She can act. She's got a bit more personality. I mean, she's not been in every movie she's been in isn't that good, but I thought she was really good in Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
No, that definitely, you got a point there. So I'm wrong in some regards. Hold on, let me see. I'll send it to you guys in a bit. Oh my god, yeah, and they also had that little. I think somebody mentioned something about how there was a droid thing that works on Bluetooth. That was there too. Jesus, I took a bunch. I can't believe I took a bunch of these, but that's just to show you how much they had left. Like that. This is how much their stock was in a Kmart of all places, but still. So.
Well, they were expecting that shit to hit big and everybody to flood the places to buy them all out as much as they could, and guess what? Did not happen.
Exactly. Yep. So take a look, Jeff.
That's you. My
Hey,
phone's
me.
beeping. No. Where are you sending all this stuff, man?
Just to give you an idea of
That's
just how
Facebook Messenger. I know, but
Yeah.
now I got to go open another app to read that since you didn't send it through the chat.
Fruity pies.
Well, I don't have it saved on my laptop. This is a piece of shit after all, and I'm barely surprised how I'm able to talk with you guys.
So
Anyway,
we can look at this stuff later. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and what I said, and I haven't been back to Meyer since I saw stuff, but less than half of an aisle was Star Wars, and right across from it was stuff for Spider-Man. And there was more Spider-Man merchandise, and that was all Star Wars stuff. That was remakes of the old stuff. Now, granted, I don't know if there's any stuff from the prequels, but and then the new Rogue One, as well as the Force Awakens, and stuff, reissues, and well stuff from Episode 8. So, I don't know, but this has been a topic for a while now. Is how much of this stuff is hurting toy sales. This stuff's on clearance. It is mid-September. I can't imagine what this stuff is going to be on Christmas sales. And if Jeff found a place that right now has action figures, buy one, get 4 free, imagine what that, if that stuff is still sitting there a week after Thanksgiving, it's going to be, please, we're throwing it away tomorrow. Just, please steal. We need the shelf space. So,
they want to get stolen even in a hurricane.
Oh, well, yeah. Put next to the sneakers. Yeah, this stuff's 20% off. Lego stuff, 20% off. And those large dolls, I don't know who. Ages 7 to 14. So this is a Lego. Oh, it's a Lego doll. How big is that?
I think it's like 10 to 12 inches. Like somewhere between 8 to 12, I think.
Now that one's only take an additional 20% off, and it's already marked down at $2.
Yeah, that's like not much of a markdown, but the additional 20 you'll probably get a couple bucks.
I mean, I remember playing with Legos as a kid. Now, granted, I just had a box of Legos, but I can't imagine playing with something like that if I was 7 to 14. Especially not 14. If I had something like that as a 14-year-old, I'm putting firecrackers in it. We're going to see how well it blows up. I'm not playing with that at 14. I might play with that at 5 or 7, maybe.
There's an idea. We can just go ahead and get a few of these once they put them out in the garbage bins. We'll do some quick dumpster dives. You could toss me in. It's basically like a walk at a park in Mexico. And we go chuck them off a roof somewhere.
Yeah, if we get in trouble, you can just hoblo to them.
Oh, I can just hop over whatever fence is there. Onto freedom.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just... Golly, and, there's got to be other crap that they haven't released yet between now and Christmas. So, yeah, I think it's pretty much... I don't know how much of it's just Star Wars and how much of it's just all the merchandising in general, where they're just over... Every movie's got way too much crap. And, yes, I understand, back in the original days, there was a Carrie Fisher bottle of shampoo and, other things, and Pez dispensers, and some of this stuff has been around. And I think I'd have to look up that scene in Spaceballs, but I think he does have Spaceballs with toilet paper.
I believe you're right.
So, and like the towels and the flamethrower was the funniest thing. It's like, hey, I want that.
It's a hit with the kids.
And then like the lunchbox is like a repurposed. I want to say it's Transformers, the cartoon, and they just put Spaceballs on it. They didn't have the time because they weren't real anyway. So, yeah. All right. So let's put the merchandising to bed and say it's just and not. I mean, it's not even like Jeff has had things about showing how the quality has suffered on a lot of these things, and it's just way too much, and no one's buying it. So along those lines, what I've been noticing. Probably over the last couple months, even in comments now, we're starting to see videos as well from people. It's almost like the Disney money is running out, for the in crowd on the internet, on YouTube, on movie reviews, and now I think it's starting to be reflected in the fans, where before people were saying, even those early on who were saying, hey, yeah, the Force Awakens is a reboot and a remake of A New Hope, but Jar Jar Abrams had to do that. You know, it was necessary. I never understood that. Now I'm starting to see people say, yeah, I don't think he had to. And why did he? And why are we getting so much fan service? And it's, to me, like it's like they're flip-flopping. It's like the tide is starting to turn or something, maybe.
I never understood why they were defending Jar Jar. It's like Dion said, he's always had the excuse of, I just didn't have enough time, blah, 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 blah. But he still ended up doing exactly what we expected him to do. And now he's got all the time in the world, and he's probably still going to do the same thing he always does, which is just make a higher budget version of something else.
Now, how much time did he have the first time? I don't remember. I just don't remember him saying he ran out of time. I didn't ever hear that, so I missed that.
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't even know Jar Jar was doing the movie until about a week before when I saw one of the things, because I didn't really pay attention to it, because I'm just like, I'm not that excited for it because it's not going to be the same as the old Star Wars, and the prequels kind of had me thinking, the original trilogy was great. The new ones weren't so good, but whatever. But then, I don't know, I saw the Jar Jar Awakens, and ugh,
yeah,
I have no hope for 8.
9.
Yep. That either. Neither one. I have no hope for either one.
Yeah, I don't either. What I find it interesting is that I'm hoping it's real, that people are starting to wake up and they're red pilling themselves a little bit. I'm hoping it's not people just jumping on, this is the current trend, I'm going to join in, just kind of like they wanted to not be left out the first time around, and that's why they were praising the movie. Because all we heard before the movie came out was how great this thing was and how it recaptures the magic of the original series and blah, 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 blah. And
it shits all over the prequels.
Yeah, and a lot of these people still can't tell you how they recaptures the original series, mostly because a lot of them didn't even bother with the original series or even the damn prequels.
Yeah. And so I want to be optimistic that this is real, that people are starting to say, hey, wait a minute. This was a remake. It didn't need to be a remake. It could have delved into... I mean, look at the EU. I mean, all the EU that they tossed out. This is what I'm also starting to see is... people are starting to question, why didn't they use it? Now, my theory has been they didn't want to pay any more money to buy royalties or anything like that they would have had to owe. They would owe some of these authors, potentially. I mean, some of that EU stuff was written 30 years ago. I mean, so I don't know how much they would have had to give them, but... it's like, well, it's kind of a little too late. You already saw the movie 15 times. So, Disney's got your money now. It doesn't matter.
They got your money in cash.
Oh, it's mine now, bitch.
Yeah. Pay the mouse, motherfucker. Pay the mouse.
Yeah. That's what they've done. They paid the mouse in droves. But, hey, we'll see, I guess, if it continues. Because as the other side is, there's been some people that are still giving him a pass, but they're like, but if Episode 8 is a repeat of Empire,
and it will be,
and I've even seen this on Screen Junkies, their movie, whatever the heck they call that, the movie battles or whatever. I can't hardly stand to watch that channel anymore, so it's really rare. But that's what they were even saying. The one guy was one of their bigger supporters and said, but if 8's just a repeat of Empire. Yeah, I'm not going to... It's like they're going to retroactively not forgive Jar Jar. And now we have Jar Jar doing the next movie. So if they're true to that and more Disney money doesn't find its way through to these people's hands, this might be a big backlash. And I for one, I want to see it. I want to see the fans actually revolt in a way that makes the revolt from the prequels just look like, preschoolers crying that they didn't get a cookie.
Gonna become Star Wars Gate.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think if it dies, I mean, yes, it's my childhood I'm talking about.
If it dies, it dies.
Because I think if people revolt and it gets really pushed off, Star Wars it may be 20, 30 years before Star Wars recovers again.
Well, before we go, I mean, I know that's kind of like, I guess an ideal scenario in some shape or form that we would want people to revolt. But the problem with that is that it's kind of like what happened with Ghost. I have a feeling like if that does happen, we're kind of going to get a Ghostbuster scenario where they're going to say, oh, why didn't Star Wars do this good or stuff like that. They're going to probably try to blame and saying, oh, it's all those racists or all those sexist people. They can't handle strong females.
Fucking Mexicans.
Hey. Oh, wait, you were talking about them. Never mind.
But they're already saying that even though it was a successful movie.
Well,
that people don't like it because they're sexist and they don't like a strong female character. They're already saying that nonsense.
True. But I have a feeling like they'll probably like double down, triple down, quadruple, times 20, whatever. Like they're going to go even further with that. Like, and I think really it just comes down to the fact that they're not going to care. They're going to just put out these movies and, somehow they're going to like pull the wool over people's eyes. And I feel like people, as much as they do say that they're only giving it a pass for now, but if it's any different, I still have a feeling like there are people out there that are still gonna. I feel like it's kind of like this, like they're blinding themselves. Like they're feeling like, oh, because it's Star Wars, I have to remain loyal to it because I don't want it to die. But I don't think that would be the right way to go about it either. I think if anything, if it dies, like Kendo said, it dies, it dies. Just appreciate that there was a great first trilogy. There was I guess I'll be nice, mediocre second trilogy. And then we saw what happens when you continue something, but you don't capture the vision of the originals.
Right.
And just be appreciative that it existed. There's still solid merchandise all around that you could still get for it. Or if you ever feel nostalgic for it, just buy a damn trilogy set or something and watch the originals. Simple as that. Not trying to be part of a trend. It's not supposed to be a trend. I mean, that's the whole corporate aspect of it. They once it got bought out by Disney, let's not forget, is a corporation. At the end of the day, they're out to make money. They hire some bullshit researcher, psycholo, whatever they call themselves. I don't know. There's like a whole study into it. I'm not even going to bother. And, they're telling these people, these corporate execs, hey, look, research has proven that this is this, or on the current climate, this is this. You can't say this anymore. Or this is what's selling now because we need strong female roles. So you have to, it's obligatory that you get a strong female role without any concern for creativity, story, or anything. And then you have someone like Abrams, who essentially is willing to bend over and say, give it as hard as you can, because he doesn't, I don't know if it's because maybe he just doesn't care, or maybe he just doesn't want to be left out, or maybe it's just the money thing.
No, it's the mindset. He has that mindset. That's his mental illness. So,
well, you called it mental illness, and I agree.
But that's but that is his mindset is similar. So to him, it makes perfect sense. It's all exactly as it should be.
Ugh. Probably getting rammed by Kennedy right now, for all we know.
Yeah. So sounds like Kendo's bored.
Huh?
Well, hey.
He's still recovering from shitbusters.
I was getting a beer.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to say he went catatonic. Okay.
Yeah. Did you guys ever figure out where Dion went off to for like the last half hour of the show?
We're gonna assume it's Handjob City.
Yeah, or he was working on a second child.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because that was just weird. Was he still connected at the end?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, he was there the whole time. He just no idea where he went.
Well, we'll find out next week, probably.
Yeah, maybe. All right. So, Before we go off of Star Wars, any other Star Wars topics, pieces that we want to chat, discuss, kick around, moan over, mourn?
No.
No, I mean it's just come to the point. I mean, I have no interest in watching The Force Awakens ever, but when it first came out, and I wasn't interested in going watching movies, but I wanted to see was it any good. It was like very split down the middle, but more or less the people that made the argument for why they were terrible had a more convincing argument than anybody else who basically said, let's watch it. And it's come to a point where I'm like, now I don't even care anymore. Whatever news are coming up, because to me it just sounds like they're more concerned with just, I guess, generating controversy so they can get more viewership, more audience in the seats, so to speak.
Asses in the seats.
There you go. That's what I'm gonna say. Thank you. Like we want more concerned with more asses in the seats, but at the cost of quality. Like, I want to see a quality movie. I don't want to see something where it's supposed to be a 2-hour long monologue about why I should give a damn about a character that really is unrelatable and not even pleasant to look at. So you don't give me any incentive to want to go to the theaters, period, in that regard. So it's like, honestly, if it does die, it dies, and I'll just be glad I saw the originals. They were good for what they are and what they've contributed overall, and that's about it.
Yeah. It'll be sad, but hey. All right. So one of the other topics that people were talking about in the comments section, as well as, because Jeff kind of brought it up indirectly,
yeah,
is Marvel and DC movies. Now, I've been contending for quite some time that the Marvel movies were becoming formulaic and repetitive, and that seemed like they had about 4 scripts and they were just copying and pasting. It was hard for me to see much of a difference between the first, Captain America movie and the rest of them. There was a little bit of a difference, but the second and third one, he's pretty much fighting his own team. Now, in the second one, there was infiltration of Hydra and all that, but it was still him fighting his team. The government looking for him until it was shown that that wasn't what was going on. Now, have him against the government in the most recent one. So part of it is people were asking, well, what's really better? We talk about the DC movies as if they were flops, yet they sold a lot. They're up in the $800-900 million range worldwide. So somebody's seeing them, just maybe not in the U.S. I don't know. What do you guys think about? I don't know if you've seen some of those comments, and there's been quite a conversation going back and forth between several people.
I'm just tired of Marvel movies. I'm just fatigued with a lot of movie genre stuff right at this time. Like Infinity War, until that, there's quite a few that I've missed. I probably will be watching Wonder Woman when it comes out on the Blu-rays, but that's for the channel, not by choice.
Actually, it says a lot, really.
But I can't tell you the last time I went and saw a Marvel movie in theaters.
All right. Now, I have not seen Man of Steel, although I know what people are complaining about, and I think it's stupid. They're too used to the Christopher Reeves Superman, and they completely forget that he kills Zod. It's just we don't see him die. He throws him into a bottomless pit.
If you because there was a deleted scene where supposedly they didn't die. They actually got arrested afterwards.
Yeah. But he turned them human, right? He took their superpowers away first. So they are killable. But in the scene that everybody's talking about, Zod is about to kill a bunch of humans, right? There's a group of people as he's got his laser eyes going across the room, and he's not going to stop. And it becomes a thing that Superman has to make a moral question. It's a moral dilemma in that split second. Does he kill Zod and save those people, or does he let him continue to kill while he's trying to subdue them? So to me, it's like, yeah, but there is a lot of destruction, which they counter on in Batman versus Superman. I didn't dislike Batman versus Superman so much as everybody else's, but I also saw the Ultimate Edition, which apparently had deleted scenes that made things make more sense. Suicide Squad, I thought, was a good start to a movie, and then it just goes downhill. And once it starts, it just is a rapid, there's just no stopping it. By the time you get the last 20 minutes, it's going so fast down the stupid train tracks that, yeah, it's like you guys should have just stopped right here and say, come see part 2 where we actually kill the villain. But that, of course, was a corporate, it's corporate entities getting in the way. And I think with Marvel, they haven't done it as much. But, I haven't seen Ant-Man. I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ant-Man was 2. Really good.
Oh, yeah.
I watched Winter Soldier. I think I saw. Maybe I saw on DVD. I don't even know anymore. But I just was bored with it.
Ant-Man was probably my favorite one of this wave, of this phase.
Right.
What are we at, 2 or 3? 2?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Because I was just burnt out for so long, and then I went and I fucking Redboxed Ant-Man one day and watched it, and I messaged Jeff right as I was done. I was like, "Dude, I just finished Ant-Man." He goes, "What do you think?" I was like, "That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. It's the first time I've really, really super enjoyed a Marvel movie in a while." I mean, there's some that I've liked. Civil War was good. I liked Civil War, but the one time of watching it was probably good. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be in a situation where I'm going to watch Civil War again, and that's one of their best ones. But Ant-Man, that's a Blu-ray buy.
Oh, definitely. I would say with Ant-Man, I think one of the things that works for Ant-Man is that this is a concern I had with Ant-Man, just like I did with Civil War, was that they're going to have to take creative liberties because there's too much they can't do because of licensing rights and all that other bullshit. So I was kind of curious where they were going with that. And also, how do you take an idea of a man that can shrink at will through the power of Pym particles and all that nonsense? It sounds so absurd that if you were to do it into a movie, I could see no other way other than an animated feature. And somehow, through some clever writing, some clever acting, I remember when Jeff did, I think it was a retrospective review of a year later, I think it was, when it came out. That was a couple months back, I think it was. He basically described it how it was a story about fatherhood and everything like that. How you had Hank Pym trying to mend his relationship with his daughter, and same thing with Scott Lang. So there was more depth to that movie. It wasn't just with Winter Soldier, which, by the way, and Civil War, I tried watching them again, and I'm like you guys. It's well, I've already seen this. This isn't really as exciting as I thought it would be as a second time. It's kind of like when I saw The Dark Knight. The first time was great, but then the second time is I've seen this. Fast forward to action sequence. Fast forward to important scene, and that was it. Ant-Man I could watch from start to finish the second time or third time.
Right. Well, that kind of brings up a side point is its rewatchability. Part of the fatigue for me, I think, is that I watch it when these movies I watch once and that's done. I mean, I remember when Iron Man came out, my son was pretty young, and we watched that first one a lot. But he also liked the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. He was really into that. For quite until 3, and then it was that kind of did it for him. And then when they rebooted it, he didn't even give a crap. So, but once we get into I like the first Avengers movie, and Captain America. I know they sell it on Honest Trailers. They talk about the Captain America movie being the first Avengers trailer, which is pretty true. But I don't need, the solo setup movies were great, but to me, once they had the ensemble, it's hard for me to go see the solo movies. Well, it sounds like I need to see Ant-Man. But, once I don't need another, I was like Thor 2. To me, it was like, why is he not with the Avengers? And then we even start seeing them kind of make jokes about it, and even in the movies. You know, we don't need an Iron Man 3. We've got the Avengers. Let's just you got the gang together. Let's just go through, and every couple of years we have another Avengers movie. But
you know what I was gonna say, of all the Marvel movies, my favorite one isn't even part of the MCU. My favorite one as of right now is actually Logan. It still continues to be, because in so many ways it still has the elements of what makes Logan, like in terms of the Wolverine comics and everything, inspirations it takes, but it changes enough that it almost feels like you're not even watching a comic book movie at some point. Like it feels like it's almost its own world. Even the way it ends, it's kind of like, well, I was expecting the happy ending, but no, they hit you with something that was pretty real. That there are such things as an ending, and you know, at some point, every ending has a new beginning. And you know, it's still one of the harder moments. I couldn't even watch the ending a second time, because it's just that like how that had that effect on me. Like it felt so real. It's like, damn, here you have a person who portrayed this character for nearly 20 years. Now the character dies, and that's essentially it. What a way to go, and what a story that was told.
Yep. No, and I think that's good. It kind of gives closure to at least that actor's portrayal. What I fear is in 2 years we'll get a reboot. And I'm like, I don't mind a reboot, but can we get a little distance first? Say 10 years?
Yeah, that would be, I think if anything, that would be fair, because like you just had the emotional impact of the movie like that. Again, like if you just dealt with a subject like, for anybody who's listening, death, yeah, like you're gonna immediately reboot it 2 years later. It's gonna take away the impact of the death. It's gonna be like, oh, so is he the same Wolverine? And it's gonna basically kind of like undo what the movie did. The whole movie was basically one big build to the man's death. You didn't want to see it happen, but it's gonna happen. You're just gonna have to accept it at some point, and that was the ending.
Yeah.
So you do a Wolverine movie like immediately 2 years later, and unfortunately, who knows if we might have jinxed it just now.
Yeah, we may have. That would be unfortunate. But that is Hollywood. But yeah, I
hope Jar Jar's not listening.
Yeah, let's reboot it. Make him black, female, trans.
On a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair, yeah. It just something just beyond stupid.
And just for measure, it has helicopter blades on the top, so now they're in on the joke.
Yeah. So yeah, I found it an interesting discussion, because part of the problem is it's obviously subjective questioning. So you end up with a bunch of fanboys on both sides saying no, DC's better, no, Marvel's better. This is kind of like the comics. For some reason, I had some of these comics growing up, but it wasn't until I was about maybe 12 or so, 13, that I became more acutely aware that Marvel and DC were two separate companies. To me, they were just superhero comics. You had Spider-Man, you had Batman, you had Superman, Sergeant Rock. I don't think I had any Wonder Woman back then, but I knew who she was because of the TV show in the 70s. And then it was like, well, what's this Marvel DC? And then that's when I realized, oh, there's two separate companies. And
there's people still now who don't even know that difference.
Right.
And they're alive as long as, if not, maybe not so much as long as around most of these companies have been, but long enough where they've started becoming popular.
Yeah. So to me, it's a matter of taste and style. Like I've said before, I have a cousin who's more into it. And to him, the DC comic, especially Batman, is more mental. This is why Batman is an equal for Superman in mental, but not physical strength. And Marvel's more of what we see on screen. To me, this is why I think a lot of this translates better, especially with today's popcorn audience, where if there's not an explosion every 3.5 minutes, they get bored. You go back and look at some of the Dark Knight movies.
Fucking mouth breathers.
Right. You got Batman and Batman Returns. How many times does Michael Keaton fight? Right? As opposed to trying to figure out, okay, why are these products making people die? and he figures out that it's not any one; it's this combination of things.
It's the new and improved Joker products,
right? And when the Tim Burton movies really start to get crappy is when it's more fighting and less mental, almost like detective, if you will. And well, what does DC Comics mean? What's the D mean?
Dick.
I thought it was Detective Comics. I thought that's what the D mean. Maybe it doesn't.
It's all about the D.
It's all about the D.
Dick cock. Dick cunt.
Dick cunt.
If you can take it.
Dick and cunt. So in many ways, it's not surprising with the audience. Well, to me, there's a. I think we've talked about this before, but I remember hearing a few weeks ago about there was a discussion amongst TV producers. Because I thought I heard this on Glenn Beck or something. I don't even remember. It was one of these I was channel surfing on the radio coming into work. And they were talking about there were actual TV producers who were looking at doing 7 to 12 minute episodes. Now this is for television, it's not for the internet. But a half hour show was too long for people to sit through. So basically, you would have a show and then a commercial break and then another episode in that time slot. So
they could just go British style. They could have 15 minutes of the show, 5 minutes of commercial, and then the next 10, 15 minutes of the show, and then it would be way better because then you would have much less of the fucking dealing with the goddamn audience tuning out type shit.
Yeah.
Actually, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
That's one of the best things about watching TV over there.
Well, I don't know about England. I know in Germany also, especially after 8 o'clock, you would get naked boobs on commercials.
I don't recall seeing naked boobs on any English commercials. But I do know after like 8 or 9 o'clock, the language used in TV shows changes.
Right.
You can get away with saying different things and having different type of content. There's a TV show called The In-Betweeners. It's one of my favorite television shows of all time. That was on like British television at like 9 o'clock at night, and they say and do some horrible fucking things.
Oh, this sounds interesting. What is it about?
It's essentially the British version of American Pie.
Oh, wow.
So think about how American Pie was and how much shitstorm that caused from the fucking parents' bureaus and things like that. Now imagine a British version. There was 3 seasons of it, 6 episodes a season, so there's only 18. You can get through a season in like an hour and a half. It's quality entertainment. I think it's on Netflix.
I'm gonna check this out if once I get a chance. I've updated my list of things to watch.
We'll put that towards the top because it's glorious.
All right, so I got that. Yeah, I'll put that towards the top.
And anybody that's listening, go watch The In-Betweeners, and then you can be like, "Oh man, Kendo told me about this show that he found in England, and it's great." And you'll be like, "Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Go fucking watch it, you sad sack motherfuckers." And donate some more money on the Patreon so we can make all your wildest dreams come true.
Wildest dreams come true.
You know, if anything, the audience, listen to us while you're sleeping, especially the parts about the Patreon and buy the fucking t-shirt. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yep. I think I forgot to put those links in last week's episode description.
Don't be a dildo.
So speaking of spending money, Netflix. They've spent, what, $6 billion?
Fuck ton.
Like, I think it's a double. Or a triple. I don't even know if it's a
triple
single.
Fuck ton?
Yeah. You were reading off that list, and some of those I've heard of. I tried watching Orange is the New Black and what's the one with Kevin Spacey?
House of Cards.
House of Cards. That one I got almost through the first season. Orange is the New Black, I barely got past 4 episodes. The rest of them I never even heard of, I don't think. Maybe one or two. Not seen any of them. And I was like, wait a minute, what did he just say? 110 million?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, What?
It's insane.
I don't know how they expect to. I guess it's just subscriptions.
That's got to be it. Just people paying for the service is what's got to fund and fuel these things. But
Right, because they don't sell ads.
I can't think that. I mean, $6 billion. If you just fucking do the math, that's a shitload of people still having to subscribe to Netflix to cover that tab.
Yeah, I just.
Well, damn. I mean,
Where did they get that money? Was that just borrow, or was that from when
Drugs,
they sold stock or something?
probably drugs, drug
Drugs.
money,
I would agree, drugs.
Yeah.
A
Golly,
lot
man.
of low.
money laundering.
That is just. Yeah, that's more than money than I can even comprehend, obviously. But I mean, $6 million.
Criminal activities.
Body for all we know.
You know, but I mean, it's nothing according to compared to government spending. But gee whiz. And what's interesting is some of the ones I have watched weren't even on that list. So the ones I have watched are probably down in the 40 mil per season.
They'd have to be because 40 million was the bottom line, and that was your Justice League or not Justice League, the fucking Jennifer Jones and the Defenders and whatever that other one is.
See, no,
And that was all in category. I mean, in one entry, or is it all individually?
All three of them filled 8, 9, and 10 because they were all at 40.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Jessica Jones I watched, and I actually liked that. But what I liked the most was David Tennant's performance. So
Because he's a very good actor.
Yeah, I thought he did it very good. And then apparently in Jessica Jones 2, I saw a still where he was there. I don't know if it's a flashback or they somehow bring him back to life. But I tried watching, what's it, Luke Cage? Is that the other one? The next
Maybe
one?
that's the one I'm thinking of. There was 3 Marvel things.
Right. Well, then you had Iron Fist and or is going to be out. I don't know. I think some of it's out, some of it's not. Because I used to watch the Agents of Shield, and then I have recently tried to watch I don't know which season it is, but it's where they have Ghost Rider, but they don't call him Ghost Rider, and he's Hispanic. He drives a car instead of a motorcycle, but he does turn to flames.
Was it a lowrider?
It wasn't a lowrider, and I think it's like a Dodge Charger or something. But
right.
I got through I don't know, maybe 3 episodes, and I'm like, no, I can't take this anymore. It's all about that one girl, and she's like part alien or something, and everything else, and she just, I don't know, unlike Ray, she's dumb, and she just keeps making the same stupid mistake. It's just, I can't take it anymore. It's kind of like when I gave up on Friends, when the Friends characters grew, and then all of a sudden they stopped, and they never changed, and I'm like, I can't take this anymore. Long before the end.
What season then was that?
Like 4.
How many seasons will go on for?
Too many.
Like 79. I don't know. 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know how long Friends went. I gave up on Seinfeld too. I was just like, although I did see the end, I liked the way that ended. That ended actually pretty apropos for the show it was. But Friends just grated on my nerves, and that might be something too, because you had talked about, Kendo, you talked about Game of Thrones and how through 4 seasons it wasn't bad, and then once they left the books and they were out on their own, it pretty much just crapped its pants.
Yeah, essentially, it's just a couple of hacks trying to do it, and they looked really good when they had source material to use as their guidelines, and pretty much could rip everything for the most part out of the books, add in a few supplemental things that weren't in the books to help, like for TV plot reasons, because some of the chapters there's stuff that happens, but it's just one character's perspective the whole time, so they need to have somebody to talk to on screen instead of talking to themselves, obviously. So they added and create characters here and there. But yeah, once they got off the source material, it's just like, we're just going to fucking write this however we want to write it. And that's usually when shit goes bad.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, I must say that now some of the things that Peter Jackson did in Lord of the Rings I didn't mind, but the things that disturbed me the most were when he left the source material. And when he just kind of barely left it, it wasn't bad. But when he veered way, way off of it, I'm like, what the heck's this? This isn't, and it's more than just, I know the purists will talk about no elves at Minas Tirith. I get that, but that was to represent that the elves were actually doing something. Because if you don't have that, there's a lot of that's not in the movies. There's other battles and skirmishes going on throughout Middle-earth. Without that, it just looks like the elves are like, you know what, this is getting hairy, screw it, we're out of here. And that's not quite accurate.
Elves are gay.
Yeah, but you do see him leaving. And,
wasn't one of
Huh?
Wasn't one of the elves gay or something like that?
I don't think so, but
one of them was played by Orlando Bloom. We called him gay.
Yeah.
All right, I think that counts.
Because all the girls loved him, and we're like, he's fag.
Yeah.
All right, so it counts, I guess.
But that was, there were characters in the movie that weren't in the book that were trying to. They portrayed a lot of ideas and thoughts that, because Tolkien does, go on and on sometimes about what someone's thinking and talking or in the discussions. Like, for instance, the council in the Fellowship of the Ring of what the in Rivendell of what the heck to do with the ring goes on for 20 pages, and it's 20 pages of dialogue. And when you're reading it, it's fine. But imagine a 20-minute, because it's usually about a minute per page when it's all that dialogue rich. So imagine a 20-minute discussion on what the heck to do with the ring. That's like 40% of the movie. So that had to be shortened quite a bit because it does go into the details of the history of Mordor and Sauron and the ring, and it gives you more insight that, for the most part, Peter Jackson put in the epilogue in the beginning of the movie, and some more that he put in other aspects in each of those three. So you've got a good feel for where some of the stuff was coming from and what it meant, why this ring was so necessary for Sauron to find. But, some of it, and when I saw the first movie, I wasn't kind of in the purist camp, and then once I understood where it was coming from, it made a bit more sense. So I can understand when they left the writer. What is his name? J.R. something. He's like a J.T.T. or I don't know. The guy who wrote Game of Thrones.
George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, I knew it was an R.R.
Fat bastard.
Fat bastard. And he writes apparently unbelievably slowly.
Don't worry, guys. The dragons are coming.
Right.
It's been fucking super slow. I think the last book came out in 2011 or 12.
Yeah. Well, I think was it you or Jeff that made the observation that, hey, if I had, sold all that stuff, I'd kind of slow it. He might be just waiting for the series to end, and then he's going to end the books differently.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because then he'll know what people liked and what they didn't.
Well, you could talk to me. I'll tell him exactly what I liked and what I didn't like.
So, but that's another show. Maybe I need to give it a second chance, but I tried watching that, and I had the same. I eventually got through The Sopranos, but to me, I had the same problem with it that I had Sopranos. That was too much violence and not enough sex.
What? That's all The Sopranos was violence and sex.
Well, it was mostly violence. There were many, many times when it was 15 minutes of them beating the shit out of each other in a minute.
They
and a half
hung out like regularly at a strip club.
Yeah, but you might see something in passing, but that's not the same. So
you wanted more sex and not enough violence, and too much violence.
Yeah,
Sopranos had the same problem. Sopranos was really good until season 5-ish.
Yeah,
and then it sort of went sideways in that season 6 time zone.
All right. Well, which season was the one where it was like, is Tony dreaming or is he not? Where it starts with he had a.
That was season 6 part.
Right, the hotel. He's having that dream about everybody being in the hotel. It's all all his past relatives who are dead.
6, because they pulled that shit where they made 2 seasons and then call it part 1 and part 2. And season 6 is the one where like his, I think it's season 6 in the first part of it, where his uncle is he's got dementia and fucking shoots him by mistake,
Right.
thinking he's somebody else because he's fucking gone loco. And so the dream sequences while Tony is like fucking laying there, is he or is he not going to die of sepsis or whatever in this hospital bed?
Right. Yeah. So, and I didn't actually mind the surreal nature of that, but it was out of phase with the rest of the series. And it got a little too ethereal, I think, for its own good.
Yeah.
So
I agree. My grandma really liked that show, and my grandma's definitely not a fan of violence and sex. Well, I mean, she wasn't. She might be now.
The Sopranos changed that probably.
is she still with us?
No, that's why she might. She's been gone for a few years. That's why her taste might have changed.
Okay, gotcha.
Wow.
Recently.
Gotcha. Okay, I don't have any other topics. I mean, other than the BBC. So, is there any other pieces? Anything else you guys want to say?
Broadcasting channel.
Yeah. So I will thank Jeff for the shout out they gave me and the Fan Caste. I did put my the channel links to both channels in as replies to the timeline. I like doing the timeline. Today it took me forever. I got started and then I got interrupted a whole mess of times. Because I usually listen to most of the episodes, especially when it's only an hour and a half. Most of it was I had listened to it before I left the house, so I know about where I want to break down stuff. Because I actually use it when prepping for this show, so I know where pieces are, what the topics were. If I want to double check what somebody said, I can just click on it and get the thing right before we start recording. So I forget who requested it, and they kept requesting it. And I thought Oggs. Somebody, or maybe Jeff said, Oggs will do it, and he never did. And I was like, no, I'm just going to do it. And now I actually like it. It's usually but we'll see. If I get a new job, because I am looking, I am still employed, I am actively looking, but who knows if I'll have the time on the new one to do it, but we'll see. So, yes, I will be shooting more beer reviews and some other supplements and some other crap. I've got some other ideas for videos that I got to get rolling on, and I know we keep talking about doing other things for this channel. We haven't done it yet, and maybe I should do a video or two for this one, similar to what Jeff is able to put those out in the middle of the day. Well, I can't. I got to figure out a way to record my voice at work, and then I could. So, because sometimes I see these things, I'll be checking something like at lunch or something, and see something on a news site, some entertainment crap, and I'm like, I want to make a comment on that. So, but if you guys if anybody in the listeners wants to know anything, let us know. I would say don't use this as a conduit to ask Kendo a question that's WCBS related that would be considered a Patreon, please. I don't want Jeff angry with us. So if you want to be able to have that kind of access, please join the Patreon and let's play fair. So
yeah, you fucking cheap sons of bitches.
Buy the damn t-shirt.
Unless you sign up for the Patreon, in which case, thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, I signed up last week, and then one of the first things I got to do was listen to the drunken commentary for TFA, and it was great. You could definitely hear the frustration in Jeff's voice from the start. So,
yep.
But again, as you said, he gets into some of those scenes, and he's like, do you talk first? Do I talk first? I mean, I understand the frustration because it's not only a poor reboot, but it's set in too modern of language. Whereas
suck a dick, J.J. Abrams.
The first one was about archetypes, and that makes it a little bit more timeless. So if we have no other topics, then I'll turn it over to Mr. Slice to announce his BBC for the week.
Scarlett Johansson.
And there you go.
Love Dolphins.
So Scarlett Johansson, listeners, if you want to see her in all her glory, check out the movie Under the Skin, or at least look at the images and the vids. She's a little bit heavier than what she is. Not to say she's fat, but she's probably a little bit softer than
you called that bitch fat.
No, I didn't. She's a little less cut than, especially muscle tone wise, than she is when she plays in the Avenger movies. But it's not much, and it's nice, and there's bush and everything. So
Yeah.
if you want to see just about everything Scarlett's got, watch the movie. It's an independent film. It's actually very creepy. It is a movie that if Eddie watches, you cannot skip. You will not know what the heck's going on.
She's not going to know what's going on either, even when she's naked.
So he'll get distracted.
He doesn't know what one of those is.
But I don't want to give it away, but I found it really creepy. What's crazy, I'm pretty certain it was when I actually used to listen to Glenn Beck, he was talking about how they made the movie and how it was, they basically had a crew and she was hitchhiking, they would get a truck driver, a lorry driver, because I think it was in Scotland, to stop. They would get his take on things, so a lot of it is poor lighting because it's literally in the truck while he's driving. They get him to sign a waiver, and then they get to see her naked, live, and in person. So at least they got some kind of benefit out of it. So it's kind of,
Really? That all happened?
Yeah. And that's what intrigued me to see it. It is not, a lot of the dialogue is improv. Now she's in character, and some of her lines are scripted to get the kind of response. Sometimes the accents are pretty heavy. I think they even have subtitles sometimes. So, but I found it a very interesting movie. So, obviously Scarlett Johansson will be in the thumbnails and will be displayed in all the glory that YouTube will allow us to do.
Let's try to sneak a couple of those naked ones in there.
Yeah, just put a few letters over the nipples. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, I might try that. So. Well,
can't touch this, YouTube.
And as we do the outro, I will not forget to say who in the heck I am, like I did on the intro.
Could also shill for the show.
We've been shilling for the show, so
yeah, I don't know how many times more I can say buy a damn T-shirt.
So
buy a T-shirt. Incarnate-studios.com. Don't forget the fucking hyphen. Join us on Patreon. Get some cool shit. Mail the show at worldclassbs@mail.com. It's the best mail.
.com.
And pretty sure that's it. Also, out here in listener land, if you're interested in appearing on the Fan Caste, feel free to get a hold of me, whether it's through Facebook, if you know me through Facebook, through the World Class Bullshitter page, or feel free to email WCBS Skype at mail.com. It is also the best mail.com.
Yep.
Mail me and tell me why you should be on the Fan Cast, what you could bring to the table, and we're going to get some more people to join, because I can't be on every Friday. Frank is hopefully in jail or dead, or both, and so we need to have people that can step in and help out around the Fan Castle.
Yep, we need some pinch hitters, and who knows, maybe you'd be like Kendo was on the main show, and he's now a regular, but he was a pinch hitter for a little bit. He got his start here, and then he went off to ring rust, and Jeff saw how entertaining he could be.
Yep. So I pinch hit, and I got in. Not to be confused with Frank, who switch hits.
Oh, see what happens, Reality's Frank, when you ain't here?
Yeah.
You get picked on.
I think he actually listens to this.
Fucking gypsy.
He does make comments, so I think he at least listens to some of it. So, anyway, all the links will be in the description, I promise. And
Links.
Well, I got,
Who got leaks now?
Yeah, I've got leaks because I'm old.
Oh!
And we'll put the links. The Facebook page is also a great way to get to know people and who we are, and Eddie, as well as Ezra hasn't posted anything in a while. For a while it was almost like the Eddie and Ezra news feed, but so some of those topics get posted, and then Jeff makes the video on it. So sometimes it is a good way to make people aware of things that are going on. I like the feedback. And in fact, really quickly, I neglected to check to see if we had any comments. And I guess at some point I may need to give out an email address for this show if people want to email me. So last week we had a Bullshitters Dozen, episode 13, and we've got stuff from Liquid Metal Pro. Kaylin Webb, Echo, what now? Sounds like hippie nonsense. So that was the comments on the Echo Sexual portion of the show at the beginning. And
yeah, I left a link there if they want to check it out. Mostly because it's not so much what the article wrote, but rather what the article links to, and that's where you see the craziness in it, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we weren't making any of that stuff up, and we really weren't making fun of it too much because it was just when people get that mentally ill, they write their own comedy. So you just kind of gotta get out of their way and let them be, silly. Also, I had this is what happens when I'm leaning on my whatever the hell that's called, my chin. So I made a comment about really nerding out about CPU buses and stuff like that, which I did last week, and Kaylin Webb also commented on it. That was appreciated. Well, thank you very much. If you want to know how much memory for 64-bit computers take 2 to the 64th, it's a big ass number, and I don't think we'll ever see that filled up. Well, maybe, but that's why it'll be a long, long time before we go to anything larger for memory addressing, and but I don't want to get into all the arithmetic and all that other crap. So there are some things there. There's some offshoots that I might do on the Braincast. Braincast is a show that I did on my channel last summer, and I haven't done anything in a long time because I've just been lazy. But I've had comments over the months, as well as people asking me at work about stuff. So I do have some topics that I should cover there. Because Jeff mentioned that I do cover some nerd culture. I don't know if that's exactly accurate, but I do cover some nerd items. That is who I am. So math and computer science is where I really geek out on. If you think I like beer, you should really see me with computers.
Weird.
So I know I'm a weirdo, but this is what happens when your IQ gets over 140. You just can become a real goofball. So socially awkward.
I didn't have that happen.
Socially awkward and all those other things. So ladies, if you want me, you're going to have to be obvious. Men, if you want me, no thank you. So let's wrap this up completely, and I'll stop saying so one of these years. I have been your host, Brainmuffin, and with me tonight has been Liquid Metal Pro.
Suddenly I'm feeling a little bit gay for Mole Man.
And Mr. Kendo Slice.
Beaners!
And we will see you next week, where you'll hear us next week discuss whatever comes up in the land of craziness and pop culture and other items. We will see you. Bye.
Buy a t-shirt.